First of all, I'm going to throw something crazy, and I think Nick's head's going to explode.
Uh-oh.
Because we both love LeBron. By the way, you appreciate LeBron, Chris, but there is an affinity for LeBron between Nick and I.
Yes.
So there is this understanding that the Lakers should just get LeBron and Paul George. And I'm going to throw this at you. LeBron will be going into his 16th year this year in Cleveland, right?
15th this year. It would be 16 when he gets to the Lakers.
16th to the Lakers. And LeBron, love him, is kind of needy and brings his guys and is sort of demanding. And the Lakers could have Lonzo Ball and Paul George and Brandon Ingram and either Brook Lopez opting out, more favorable contract, or Zubac, and Larry Nance off the bench, the makings of things but they wouldn't have a shooting guard. Why would they not pursue a max deal for a perfect fit basketball-wise Klay Thompson, weakening the Warriors, Michael Thompson? Klay grew up knowing and loving the Lakers. It is a better basketball fit. That LeBron simply can't be the answer to everything. He has become the Band-Aid for everybody's problems. And if I'm the Lakers, Klay is a better fit. I don't know if Paul and LeBron in his 16th year beat the Warriors. He'd take over the franchise. Is that what Magic wants?
First, you're saying that the Lakers can get Klay. Like, you're just assuming that they're going to get Klay, and Klay wants to go there. You threw out some fact that his dad played. That, to me, is like, but what does that really mean? His dad actually played for the Lakers. This just happens to be a team in the NBA that's in L.A. This is not the real Lakers. And also, his dad was a star before joining a team with a bunch of stars. So I think it's a lot different. I do like the angle of adding a two-guard, but he's still going to get a max contract. I think they're 3 or 4 players away from being competitive, not 2 players.
3 or 4 players away unless they were to add LeBron, in which case they'd instantly be one of the 2 best teams in the league. I think Klay Thompson would be, let's assume he did want to go there. I think Klay Thompson would be an extraordinary consolation prize if Cleveland has once again screwed up keeping LeBron. If Dan Gilbert somehow is going to win Dunce of the Year for the 2nd time in a decade because he loses LeBron twice. The idea that you could ever finish a sentence, that you could ever start a sentence with, you know who they'd be better off with instead of LeBron, and finish it and be accurate, I'm not going to believe. Year 16 sounds like, wow.
It does.
But this was year 14, and he was far and away better than everyone in the league by a mile. So do I think by a year and a half from now, Klay Thompson will have passed LeBron in the hierarchy? I don't. I understand the fit on the shooter part.
Yes.
I think Lonzo Ball might be able to be a good shooter.
Well, I think he is too. I actually think
he's got a funky release, but I think he can shoot. Chris and I were at a game where he hit about a 30-footer to beat Oregon. I mean, I think the kid can shoot. And so if you can get LeBron, get LeBron. Let's not overthink this thing.
Okay, I'm just this is theoretical.
Yeah, it's theoretical.
This is not database.
I got you.
I'm going to throw this out to you. There's a lot of different ways to parent. And I have, despite his silliness, his affinity for over-promoting, could I make this argument with Lonzo Ball? With his dad being almost a Don King figure, eccentric and goofy, in a weird sort of calloused way, that Lonzo, it's been good for Lonzo. He lives in a circus tent. So when he goes to run the Lakers at 20, he's a little calloused. His dad's embarrassed him. His dad's been loud. His dad's been created chaos. This is not a kid coming from a small college town with a quiet, reticent father, and you're the Lakers' point guard and Magic saying you're great. Is there an argument to be made that circus tent LeVar Ball has added a little callous to Lonzo that could actually benefit him?
Well, first of all, I think it's about the kid's personality. His personality is best suited when he has a parent like he has. Now, I've coached a lot of kids. There is no shortage of crazy parents. All right? When you're out there in youth sports, there's a lot of parents like him. They just don't have a microphone. They're just not sitting on this couch. But in my experience, the last 20 years in coaching the youth, probably the most difficult thing is managing the parents compared to the kids. So I think that his overall personality of being a team guy, also his natural nature is kind of quiet and introverted. Yes, I like that compared to if he was a copy of his dad. Yes, but at the end of the day, I think people miss this. You see all those clips of him practicing. When you're on the court practicing, you're not thinking about your parents. You're not thinking about your life, what you come from. No, that's your safe haven. So I'm not necessarily as worried about him as other people because I've dealt with great athletes and them having crazy support systems around them and them still being able to overcome that.
I also think I think you've got to recognize there's almost two versions of this guy, LeVar Ball, and how it relates to Lonzo. There's the version that you see on television. There's the version that same version you saw on this couch, which I was in the building that day, and I had talked to him before he went on the show. And then after he had the dust up with Kristine, I walked up to him in the green room, and I was like, hey, man, you know what I think about you. I told you what a good father I think you are. That was out of line. Like you have that version, the almost WWE caricature.
Yes.
But then you also have the guy who I just read on Twitter this morning from Clarence Hill. This weekend, 8 a.m., coached 20 kids in basketball and then cooked them all breakfast. None of them his own kid. The guy who is going to have 3 sons.
I watched some of the coaching videos, so he was actually probably he was on the bench with the kids. Because this coaching, I don't necessarily agree with. Okay, but yes,
what I told him was, people can dislike him for good reason.
Yeah,
I think he's been a tremendous parent. You got 3 kids; they're all getting full scholarships to UCLA. All of them. What's that? $250,000 each. Then forget what Big Baller Brand makes. That's $750,000 after taxes.
But when Lonzo was in his moment, I have to disagree with you. When he was in his moment and got drafted, he immediately said that the other 2 kids would be playing for the Lakers. So you can I don't tell people how to parent their kids. Yeah. I have learned that from especially in the hood. You definitely can't tell those people how to raise their kids. But he has made a bunch of mistakes.
Yes.
And the kid's ability is the only thing that will cover up for his personality.
Yeah, the kid's ability, I think, is inextricably tied to his parenting. And because he made a big gamble when these kids were a very young age, I'm going to build basketball players. And he's got 3 of them. 2 of them, I think, will. One has made the NBA. The youngest one, I think, probably will. And LiAngelo, while he's probably not an NBA player, it looks like he could have played 2 sports in college, football or basketball, even if he's not a super elite professional level player. You got to give the man credit for that. Then you also got to recognize that in part of his kind of carnival barker mentality, he is going to turn some people off because he does some and says some out of line things. As far as has it prepared Lonzo, I agree with that premise. If you can handle that.
That's what I'm saying. If you can handle that, I could make the argument.
But you also have to remember, in the home, there's also another buffer. It's called a wife. All right? She's not in these interviews. She's not in between them.
Right.
So he has a buffer in his mother at the house.
All right. You're not doing anything, right, for the next 10 minutes?
We can stick around.
Okay. The show's called...
I am, but...
First,
Are you... First things first.
Okay.